Hey guys, Stealth here. I thought I'd just start out this review with a results screen, because this is a match that I just played in the MBT-70. That's the focus of this review, and this is a results screen that you can frequently see if you know a bit how to play this thing. I got 250,000 credits and 6,000 XP. Now that's without a premium modifier for my commander, but of course it is with premium, so I don't have the Maximilian Koenig commander on this one. Now if you go into details, you can see that I've netted 218,000 credits and 6,000 XP with this one. That is what this thing does. Welcome to the MBT-70. This tier 6 American main battle tank can, as you have seen, make you a lot of credits. It is, however, only purchasable by gold, which means you're going to have to dish out your wallet in order to get it. You can find this vehicle in Wolfley's Tree at tier 6. It's a very heavily armored main battle tank. It's pretty quick for its type, and you can do a lot of credit printing with it. Of course, you also get the XP on this tank, and the XP goes right into a sort of locked XP pool. And this means that you can convert the XP that you grind with this vehicle for gold in order to free XP some other vehicle or get some more upgrades for a specific one. Now, what do you need to know about the MBT? It has a lot of armor, especially from the front. This thing has 252 millimeters of armor. The turret is slightly less at 250, but keep in mind this is layered composite steel. And that means that you get a modifier. So an AP ammunition round is going to go through all of this armor with a 1.5 modifier, which means that you're not actually looking at 252 millimeters of armor. You're actually looking at 375. The same goes for HE ammunition. Keep in mind HE, not heat. Heat is a shaped charge. Shaped charges do even worse against this type of armor. 2.5 times armor modifier. That means that if you fire a heat round at this tank, let's say you're focusing on the front of the vehicle, you're not actually running into 252 millimeters of armor, you're actually running into 630 millimeters of armor. No heat round's going to go through that, and even ATGMs will struggle when penetrating this vehicle. Now aside from that, this thing has a very punchy gun. Your armor penetration is 381, which means that the MBT-70 can penetrate itself from the front if it finds itself up against a sort of similar tank, but you're going to be struggling if that angle is, or if that armor is angled. The moment someone doesn't just plainly point their tank at you like this, but go a little bit sideways, you're going to have a much harder time actually going through, because then your armor sloping is going to add to the deflection, and that will make most shells just bounce off harmlessly off the MBT. That said, your damage is 501, and that's with the AP FSDS round. The heat round is going to be even more, and we're going to be looking at that in a second. Now as far as mobility goes, it can go up to 68.4. Of course, if you install some retrofits, you can make this thing even faster. I gotta say, it's surprisingly quick for the type of vehicle or the size of the tank. You really wouldn't expect this much acceleration, this much speed out of this vehicle. As far as vision goes, it's a main battle tank. You don't have to expect this thing to be a scout. Camouflage is pretty bad. Vision range is only 340. So that means that pretty much every vehicle, safe from main battle tanks, will outspot you and spot you first before you can see what's actually shooting back at you. Gun depression at -8 degrees means that you can go hull down with this thing pretty okay. It's not great. I mean, if you compare that to the Chieftain has 10 degrees of hull armor, or 10 degrees of gun depression. It may not seem like much, but that extra 2 degrees will mean that you are a lot more secure against units that are going to try and penetrate your turret. Now the targeting time for this thing is quite long, at 3.3 seconds. You will feel this on the battlefield, because it means you have to be out in front of a target for quite a while before you can actually get the gun fully zoomed in. So what I'm doing is pushing a lot of retrofits towards getting this targeting time and the reload time down as much as possible. Because while this thing may have a very punchy gun, it also takes quite a while to actually reload those rounds. And of course you can also reload ATGMs, but those reloads will take you a lot more time. Now, talking about the ammo loadout for this vehicle. I'm running around with 19 AP rounds, which have 152 caliber size. They have 478 damage and 381 millimeters of penetration. That means you can pretty much pen anything on the battlefield at tier 6. Heat rounds are going to do more damage at 597, but they have less penetration. And at tier 6 you're going to be running into more and more vehicles which have some sort of modifier to deal with shaped charges. So your heat round is really not going to be that effective unless you're firing it at vehicles that you know don't have any protection against it. But keep in mind that reloading takes you about 12.7 seconds. And that means that if you spot a lightly armored vehicle, it's going to take you 12 seconds to get ready, at which time that thing is long gone. So that's why I don't have as many heat rounds loaded as I do with AP. I mostly keep these around in order to do PvE. Finally, you got an ATGM, which has a lot of armor penetration at 668. But keep in mind that 252 hull armor from the front gets a multiplier of 2.5 for this vehicle. That means that your total hull armor is going around 630 millimeters against shaped charges. This thing will penetrate. It has 668 millimeters, so you got an over penetration of 38, or penetration greater than the defensive value. However, you have to be out in front and keeping your vehicle still in order to actually fire the ATGM. Other than that, it does take a bit of time to aim it, so all of that factors into me not really using the Shillelagh or Shillelagh missile that often. Retrofits, I already mentioned them briefly. I push everything towards reload or accuracy. The Advanced Thermal Sleeve Mark 1 is going to help me with my reload. I got the Gyroscopic Stabilizers Mark 2 from the Acacia, and these are going to again help with my reload as well as push my aim time down a bit, and that is definitely helpful on this tank, because the higher tier you go, the more important it becomes to hit weak spots, and the faster you can aim, the faster you can get back into cover. And finally, Experimental Propellant Mark 1 is going to make sure that I do a bit more damage. As far as the consumables go on this vehicle, I'm using the spare parts, the medical kit and the auto fire extinguisher. Even if you don't use these, they are still going to be providing the passive bonuses. And I find myself really not using these things very often. Then there's the mid-tier field maintenance kit if I'm going into PvE, which will resupply my ammo and get me 20% of my vehicle hit points back. As far as the commander goes, I went with Philip Holtzclaw, and I picked this guy because he has a significant bonus. This one. Reload time reduced by 10% for 15 seconds when a nearby ally is damaged. This happens rather often, because you're usually not the only main battle tank pushing. And pushing down your reload time by 10% is going to mean that you get to do more damage. More damage means a greater chance to get a lot of credits with this vehicle and win the battle. Because of course the more damage you can do to the enemy reliably, the better your chances are to win. You also get an accuracy buff of 10%, you get a damage module damage increase by 20%, again when near allied vehicles. That happens all the time. I get a bit of additional crew hit points by 20% and vision range added by 10%. So I got a bit more spotting range with this vehicle than you normally would. Now that's quite enough about the details of the tank. You can look all of this up on your own. Just go into the dealer tree, go to Wolfley, right click the MBT and click details. So time to show you some battles. And keep in mind, this is just me pressing the battle button. I'm not sugar picking these reviews or these gameplays to give you a great review, because I don't really believe in that style of reviewing. I think that, yeah, they're great to look at, but sometimes, or actually once in a blue moon, you will get a replay like that. The rest of the time, it is just not going to be that good. So this is pretty much what the average player can expect to do with this vehicle, and I very much still consider myself an average player at this game. So let's wait till the matchmaker finds us something, and then I'm going to resume the recording. Okay, we're loaded in. Reactor. We got only 3 tier 6s on the enemy team, 2 MBT-70s and an Acacia. We have 4 tier 6s, 2 MBT-70s, 1 expeditionary tank and 1 Acacia. The rest of the enemy team consists of M60, T-72As, a couple of tank destroyers and a lot of those Begleitpanzer Panzer 57s, as well as a BMD and a Fox. Now what I'm going to do with this vehicle is head towards the dam, because especially when hull down, this thing becomes very difficult to penetrate. The only thing that I need to worry about is their artillery, because the Acacia has 3 rounds in a small autoloader clip, and this tank is just not that quick to move out of the way if you have an incoming artillery shell. Let's just boulder down the hill right here. Of course I'm going right into oncoming traffic, which is getting out of... what the hell? That did a lot more damage than expected. I barely touched the guy and I took 124, or I took 155 incoming damage. That's significant. Alright, as far as mobility goes, you can see that it takes a while for this thing to get rolling, but once it does, you can actually get a pretty good speed out of it. Of course, I'm going slightly downhill here, but I am getting to that 65 kph that was advertised with the tank. The MBT-70 in front of me is already taking fire, and you can see he has significantly more hit points. He has 1897. In his retrofit slots, he probably went with the armor extensor, or the armor improvement retrofits. And that means that he has significantly better hit points. Now I'm going to try and get this guy out of the way as quickly as possible. See, the artillery's coming in. We've got an MBT-70 that's pushing pretty aggressively over the dam here. If we can nail this guy, that would really help. Lower frontal plate, penetrate it, 483. I'm going to continue to zigzag my way back, because that way I have a better chance of not presenting a weak spot to him. T-72 went right through, doing 494 damage.
Identify target. Hostile tank.
And they seem to be pushing rather aggressively. 557 or 457. This MBT-70 has got to go. He seems to be focused on my buddy there. Fired. If the McHammer can kill him, there you go. Now I'm going to push into this vehicle. I didn't mean the MBT-70. Good hit. And someone else took him out, the expeditionary tank on the hill. Okay, look at that. I already did 2,000 damage, but we're going to subtract a little bit, which is the damage done to the chieftain. So I'm actually doing 1,900 damage at this stage. Now let's see if I can destroy some more targets here. What I really need for these guys is to come with me, because this thing, as noted, is not that good at spotting at 340 meter view range. And right now I'm coming into territory which is a bit more fortunate for tank destroyers and those light tanks, and they have quite a few of those. Now, I'm going to be firing at the rear of targets mostly, so I'm going to switch to heat after I fire this shell. I've been spotted. And that was a tank destroyer that just bounced off. Without a good spotter, we're in trouble, because I cannot see him. And that goes for me and the MBT-70. There you go. He got blown up.
Incoming! Driver, move!
That's one round.
Incoming! Incoming!
That's the second round. He hit me. And here comes the third. Let's try and get a shell onto that tank destroyer. Give him a bit of lead. There you go. 468. And there's another MBT. I'm going to have trouble penetrating this thing from the side. More artillery's coming in. Get out of the way. Splash damage hit me for a little bit. Unfortunately, my allies have no idea what they're doing, because I need them to help me out here. I need a spotter. There's the MBT, and there's the tank destroyer. That's the thing. Or sorry, it's the light panzer. Took out another one. There's the tank destroyer. He should be low enough for me to kill him with one round. Definitely now.
Now slow.
Damn, I think I hit a track or a wheel of that thing. Okay, the light tank is engaging the MBT-70, which is not going to go well for the light tank. Unless it's really going to do flanking maneuvers. Come on, get out here. I cannot really help out this expeditionary tank too much. I'm gonna have to, because he's damn near dead. Snapshot. M60 on our right. He's too far away to be a threat. The only thing that I'm really worried about is the light tank there. That one. I'm pretty much hull down, so if I can take care of that one right now, that would help out my BMP-2 there. What I still don't get is why these guys are still up here. It doesn't do anything. Now with this dip in the road, I'm pretty safe from artillery. It's going to have to do a really high arc in order to hit me. I'm just going to wait for my teammates to pull up. Side shot. You hit me pretty bad. You can hear that my tank is just rambling on. Now, this death growl guy is pretty heavily engaged with the expeditionary tank. They're just sitting there? Are those bots? Now, this thing has a 6-second time to swing its turret around fully. So I can probably abuse that and get a shell into him. Overmatch destroyed his engine. He's not going to be moving anywhere soon. Yeah, he's got a little bit of mobility left. Let's try to get the gun depression to work here. And someone else took him. So, let's wait for the results screen to come up. Alright, results are up. I got 2400 XP, and that's without a double. I already got my double. That's the result screen that I showed you at the beginning of the review. 151,000 credits, and net that comes down to 134,000. So this thing can really print you money. As far as team goes, I didn't do that well. Spotting was probably done by M60 here. He spotted more targets than I did. But I think damage-wise, I got on top with this vehicle. So, the MBT-70, really powerful vehicle, but you have to push with it. Don't be one of those guys who's going to be camping at the start and just not providing any sort of logistics or support for the team. Now, I'm going to take it into a PvE hard mission to show you exactly what it can do there. It's going to be a bit of a different playstyle, and I find that I usually don't get the same amount of credits and or XP. So keep in mind here, I got for this one 134 net credits and 2400 XP. Alright, Operation Scorpio. Time to take the bridge back, and as well as destroying a couple of black market shipments. I'm teamed up with another MBT-70. I got a Leo 1A5 with me, a Fox, this is going to be really useful for me for spotting, and a Terminator to deal with all the armored fighting vehicles. I'm going to focus mainly on the vehicles that the others may have trouble penetrating. So my main targets are going to be main battle tanks, as well as vehicles that the others might struggle with frontally.
Time to move in on the cartel.
Couple of planes coming down there looking like Su-25s. There's a Bradley, not really a target for me, but why not? 494, artillery's coming in. That's a PZH-2000, that's a tier 8 with a 3-clip autoloader. So yeah, just don't have the speed to get in and out of cover fast enough to not get hit by artillery. And 1A1. This thing might be more difficult to penetrate. Again, heat would have been ideal because I overmatched the BMD-4's armor. However, just going for a reload in order to get a heat round, by that time, the Terminator would have probably finished off the target. So I decided against it. Let's see if I... Yep, this thing presents a nice side target, but I didn't go through. Keep in mind though, it's tier 7, it's an M1A1. Let's just destroy this BMD-4.
Ammo up. Target destroyed. Incoming!
Got hit by something and then artillery tried to fire at me. Artillery is usually in a pretty reliable or predictable spot. They're always spawning in the same location. No good shot there. There's another MBT-70 which is upgraded, but it's showing its sight to me. Again, overmatched, so I could have used heat here.
Incoming Arctic.
Here comes the artillery. One missed. For the side. 525 damage. I want this thing out of play. Lower frontal plate. Didn't pen. Damn, I snapshot it, but I didn't get him. At the same time, he fired, but he didn't penetrate me. There's a Terminator down there. Let's go for the turret. Target down. Now, 2100 damage done. Compares to my team pretty favorably. I'm coming third in damage. You can see just how effective the Terminator is at dealing with all these BMPs. The BMD-4 there. Again, wrong side of the road for me. Can't hit him. So instead I'm going to go for the secondary objective here. Which is up and to the east. The one that has most damage is probably the Terminator at 4,000. And our Fox is also doing a great job at another 4,000 damage now. They're actually 1 point of damage apart right now. And yes, I always pay attention to how much damage is done by who, to see how well my teammates are performing. Look at that. Not exactly zoomed in, completely derped the shot. I always pay attention to how well my teammates are doing, because I'm a pretty competitive-minded person. I want to see how well people do, what I can expect from them. Angry armor. There you go, he's down. Thank you, Terminator. Fox has illuminated the BMP, which got killed quickly. And we only need one more black market ship, which is down there. Yeah, Fox got it.
Got some of that poison off the streets. Identify target.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Always love it when they spawn right in range. MBT-70 took it out. Pretty high roll there with 500. Zooming in, zooming in. Fire. Ooh. Damn near hit the Fox there. Come on. Didn't penetrate. There's possibly something that's going to spawn right behind me, because you can see I'm sparking off something, which means I'm colliding with it. 302, you can see that the turret takes reduced damage. It's unmanned. Unmanned turrets take less damage from any incoming fire. So normally I do 500 or average 500 damage with this MBT-70. I didn't do quite as well right there. Now they've triggered the cap. That usually triggers another spawn as well. Now let's say I have a target which is right there, and then I want to suddenly engage the river. I turn the turret and the hull. It improves your turret rotation speed by also turning the hull, and you can quickly acquire and reacquire targets. But it seems that we already cleared out this map. That's pretty soon. Yep, no more spawns. What the hell? Somebody left the cap? Okay. Right, quick PvE match.
Reinforcements are on the way. Good job. The ISP pays you well for this.
Yeah, those cars really needed to go. We couldn't have done that ourselves as a tank, but hey, Alright, I'm going to pause it here because victory screens usually take too long. Okay, results are in. I got 1800 XP, so the XP was about 700 less than previous. Let's get the notification up. This is the previous one. 2459 XP. No doubles, no stuff. This was the double by the day. 151 XP, credits, translated into 134 net. I only got 51 this time around, so this is why I usually, when I want to grind credits, I go right into PvP with this vehicle. It does okay in PvE, but 50,000 credits, come on, it's not that much for a premium tier 6 tank. You would expect a little better of it. So that's why I usually go right for PvP when I want to grind credits, and if you want to reliably grind XP, go for PvE. That's the way that I usually distinguish between these two. So, that's the MBT-70. I'm going to pull it up one more time, with 3 games. I got 51,000 credits, and of course you don't have to pay for resupplies and repairs here. I got 134, so we're already looking at 185. And the first Cold Strike map that I played was 218. So in the span of 3 games, I netted somewhere close to 400,000 credits. Are you going to get this every time? Probably not. Not all games are going to go as well, but keep in mind this is just me playing around without sugar picking these replays. So if you do moderately well, you can expect pretty damn good results. So, if you're in the market for a tier 6 premium, if you need some credits, get yourself an MBT-70. The alternative would be the VFM-5. I haven't purchased this thing yet. I've seen them used very, very effectively on the battlefield, but I haven't gotten them yet, so I don't know how they compare. But what I do know is that the MBT-70 for me is a fun tank. It's hard to penetrate, it hits hard, makes a lot of credits, makes a lot of XP, and that's what I want out of this vehicle. So, I hope you found this replay and review useful. If you did, please hit like. If you want more tanks reviewed, if you have a specific request for that, leave it in the comments and I'll see if I can get to it. And if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.